Well, greetings, people of the internet. Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today, saying goodbye to one crappy year. Yay, 2020's going bye-bye. But it didn't go out without taking something with it. That's sitting right over here. Well, good. So if you made it through the intro, I still got you, I see. So what didn't make it? Well, Ubiquiti, you didn't surprise me. I'll put it that way. It was more of, oh, it took a little bit longer than I thought, but it still happened. I had another Ubiquiti switch have a power supply go out of me, namely a PoE switch. If you remember a year or two ago, maybe it was longer than that, I had a customer's Ubiquiti 48-port switch just go belly up on me. No warning, no nothing, just went out. And as we came to find out as we pulled that switch and brought it here on the bench that the power supply indeed was bad on it, but to no avail. If you contacted Ubiquiti, there was no way to repair a switch because it was out of warranty, or this one. And the second thing was they didn't make the parts available if you wanted to repair it. So if I just simply wanted to pull out the power supply and replace it with another one and move on down the road and continue to use their otherwise generally fine baseline of products, I could have, but oh no, no repair parts available. Now, I still had one more option, that is I could find a local electronics store to try and repair it locally, or someone on the interwebs to record it, but that's kind of sketchy at best. And I think these switches retailed at around $600 or $700. They weren't cheap back then. They're 500-watt switches, both of them. And yeah, well, let me show you. And it's heavy. Yeah, it's 10 pounds, easy, maybe more. 48 ports, 500 watt. It does have 4 SFP connections over here, so you can, do multiple switches or whatever you need to do, or if you have a fiber backbone. But there it is. I got a call last week that some of the computers were done at this architectural firm that this switch is at, and I was able to get online with my machine remotely and discovered the switch actually hadn't gone down, just the power over Ethernet functions had gone down. So that meant that any desk phones that were running PoE, or the wireless access point, which is PoE. Oh, and the surveillance cameras all were down because all three of those items require PoE, and this was not providing it. So, on one hand, I got lucky the whole switch didn't just go out on me like the last one did. I had prepared this customer ahead of time, so we had a switch, a 24-port PoE switch in stock, that I could have just moved the PoE, non-functioning PoE devices off of this one onto that one, but we decided to take the switch out of the rack and replace it with another 24-port. So I had the client purchase another 24-port Netgear PoE switch, 150 watts, so he has two 150-watt switches in there. We're talking about 4 cameras, maybe 5 or 6 desk phones, and a wireless access point to power. Yeah, so not that, and surveillance cameras, if I mentioned that. So not much of a big load at all, and they can handle it. So that's what this video is about today. So let's go out to the client site and I'll show you around so you can see what happened out there. All right, so we're at the client location, and this is the one where the edge switch, 500 watt, I believe has gone bad. Now it appears to be working as a switch, but not as a PoE switch. So yeah, that seems to be what the problem is. So we're going to go ahead and switch this out. I have another PoE switch over here. I have this Netgear 24 port, the PoE Plus, so we're going to put this one in, and then we're going to start plugging in stuff from the other switch one at a time. Hopefully I can find some more cage nuts, because if not, I may have a problem. I may have to just sit it on top of that other switch that's in there, because I don't know where I have any more cage nuts at. I could, in theory, steal some, but I will have to look around and see if I have any cage nuts for this rack. So, but yeah, all the cameras, like these cameras here, they're all offline right now. So, and I don't see that they have any signal at all. Nope, nothing. So the only thing I can figure is this switch is bad. But I don't have the little inserts that go in here for these square cage nut adaptations. So we'll have to figure out what to do with that. Alright, well, I'm going to get to work. Alright, so I have confirmed that the switch is okay, other than the PoE is not working. So what I've done, if you notice, I've only put one screw in there, and I put one screw in over here in the corner. I robbed them down here from this power strip, which is now just kind of laying there. I don't have enough cage nuts to put two switches in, so I'm going to take a couple of cage nuts from this for the new switch. This is a switch they already had, a spare they had, PoE switch, and it's very, as you can see, it doesn't weigh very much, not even anywhere near as big as the Unify switch. Or the edge switch, I should say, the 500 watt edge switch. So I'm going to start, now that I've got everything unplugged, I'm going to pull that switch out, and I'm going to mount the new Netgear switch underneath the existing one they had there that I just mounted. That makes sense. And then we're going to plug all the other stuff back in, and then go around and start bringing things up and making sure we got power to everything. And then I'll call it. I'll probably put their new wireless access point in. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. Depends on how much time I have left. But I'm going to go ahead and get this switch out of here, because it's a booger. It's heavy. I want to make sure I don't drop it, make it any worse. And then I'll get it back to the lab, and we'll either send it off to try to be repaired, or we will try to repair it ourselves. Anyway, that's where we're at right now. Back to work. So for the record, this is an Edge Switch 48 port 500 watt. This son of a bitch weighs a ton. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. It weighs about probably 10 pounds. But when you're up there on the rack on your own, and you're taking that last screw up and you're holding it up with the palm of your hand, so there it is. Yeah, it's a little dusty. Now, it was running when I got here. Like I said, the switch is running, but it's not providing any PoE. So I'm assuming the PoE power supply is what's gone bad in here. The switch itself is working. So, you know, we'll get it back to the shop and see what's going on with it. Meanwhile, here is the new switch in its box. And I'm just going to go ahead and take that out. Hopefully I've got a good shot of this. So this is only a 24 port. They have a 48 port switch in here. I couldn't get my hands on one. It says it requires warranty registration for full warranty entitlement and full access to GUI features. We'll worry about that later. But it's a 24 port PoE Plus Smart Manage Pro switch with 4 SFP ports. I thought this one was a 28 port. Well, maybe it's because they're counting the other ports on it. So what I need to do now is get it out of the box and get its mounting ears put on and get it put in place so that we can have some power. So yeah, it probably weighs 5 or 6 pounds, I would say. somewhere right around there. Let's see, it should have, yes, does it come with cage nuts? I doubt it. We're about to find out, but it's not going to, the old switch is not going to fit. Let's see, let's get it out of its wrapper. It's a big switch. Yeah, I'm going to need all 4 Hoochimaflachis on there. I'm not going to dare put this with 2, but we'll, I don't think it's going to come with any cage nuts or anything like that. Just going to come with the, yeah, I was right on that aspect. No cage nuts, no nothing like that. It's got feet. It's got the, it comes with the screws to mount it. And then it comes with the screws for the rack ears. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rack ears on. I'm going to go ahead and use 4 plugs. I'll just order some cage nuts. It's no big deal that the power supply is just kind of sitting down there. Now, one thing that's kind of a little disconcerting is that all the ports are over on the right-hand side. I think everything will reach. So we'll get it plugged in, get it powered on, and then we'll come back at a later time to register this device, because frankly, it's Sunday night. They need to be up in the morning, up and running. So I'll come back. I'll take some more footage when we have something that changes and that you want to see. So I've managed to get the other switch in, and yeah, it's not pretty, but it's working. So there's the new switch, covered in cables, and it is lit up, and I am getting PoE back to my cameras. I was able to go to the surveillance cameras and adjust them, but I do have the new access point with me. So I think what I'm going to do is replace this one while I'm here. I mean, it's better than driving back out here. I'll make that decision in a minute. But the older ones used a special PoE injector. It's a good thing I had the customer order the Unify 6, because I forgot. And we got this because it was time to change it out. So here's their long range AP. It's one we're putting in here. However, their old one, I was wondering why it wouldn't come up with the new switches. Well, because the old one is a 24 volt PoE. That's how old that wireless access point is. This one is a 48 volt, so it adheres to the 802 dot whatever standard. However, it requires a new version of the Unify software, version 6. So I'm loading that on the unit that I maintain this computer with, and we're going to see if we can actually connect to this wireless access point now that it's plugged in and powered on, and that I can program it. So wish me luck. And always remember, the older Unify access points are 24 volt PoE. This switch provided a 24 volt PoE as well as a 48 volt PoE. And see, it would have been nice if Ubiquiti had just stuck to the 802 standard, but they didn't. So here we are. It looks like it's running. Let's launch a browser. See if it accepts my username and password. Yay, there it is, pending adoption. Whoop, 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 whoop. That's what I'm going to use. And this one we'll get rid of after I've adopted this one. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to, you can't see it really well, but I'm going to go ahead and adopt the device. And it says complete your adoption by adding a Wi-Fi network. There's already a Wi-Fi network in here. Well, let's see here. Well, it's adopting. Yeah, there's my Wi-Fi network right here. So let's see if it's okay, it's getting ready, and I'm sure there's going to be a firmware update or something. So we'll test this, and then I'll come back and tell you if we were successful or not. All right, so I got it. I got the access point up and running with the new version of the software. Nothing phenomenal speed-wise, typical up and download speeds, but it is working. So they'll be able to come in on Monday morning and get to work. So I'm going to go ahead and take you on a tour. So I left the old access point where it was. We'll come back and do some cleanup work after the first of the year because I want to put the new long range access point here where the old one is. I did get the phones back up and running. As you can see, we now have PoE for the phones. We now have PoE for the cameras. The wireless is working. I didn't have to do anything. What I've done is I just put the wireless access point in here for now. So I'm going to need to order some cage nuts for this power strip to mount it back onto the rack. And then I just put the access point up there on the shelf for now. That's fine. It's getting a good signal. I tested it all the way around the building because they occupy like a quarter of the 8th floor up here. They're getting a good signal, so they shouldn't have any problems come tomorrow morning when they try to connect up wirelessly. And then I need to come out here and spend some time on this rack. Some good quality cleanup time, straightening up, and organizing. All my cables are labeled. I've got a chart right over there on the wall that tells me what each cable goes to, what each port goes to. And then I've got some others that are just dangling there, but they are labeled. But it'd be nice to clean them up and whatnot. And but it looks like everything is up and running. I'm getting ready to test and make sure I can connect all the machines. I can ping them. Then once I verified I can do that, then I will clean up my mess here, get my bag packed, and head on home. It's almost 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, so it means I might get home sometime around 11 tonight. I've already eaten, so it's not a big deal. The old laptop, she takes a beating, keeps on ticking, so haven't killed it yet, but that power connection is very wonky. Yeah, there's the old switch. I got to get that downstairs. I got to, like I say, clean up. But first, I'm going to start testing all the machines, make sure I can ping them, and make sure we got everything back up and running. But that's probably going to do it for the footage here for tonight. Oh, I do need to check their Huchamaflachi. I put a what do they call those? Chromecast on here. So I need to make sure that's working. Yeah, it looks like it's working. Yeah, it's getting the time. More tools. Cast media to device. Office TV. Sources. Cast the tab. There we go.
This refers to CPUs with two types of processor core. Some larger and more powerful and designed for intensive processing activities, and some smaller and more energy efficient.
Good to see it working.
Designed for less demanding processing tasks. Right now, Big Little is in the news because Intel has...
All right, so that's it for me today for here. Let's just take a little walk around. So I tested everything. The Chromecast is working with the TV. The cameras are all working. I've got the server room back to its state it's supposed to be in. Now this client has ordered 8 sit-stand desks. So what we're going to do is, in this back office here, we're going to create what's called a landing pad. So I'm going to need to add about 8 drops in here. I think what we're going to do is just put another switch in here with a place for 8 sit landing pads, they call them, and we're going to get some Lenovo mini PCs. So, and I've got to get all this stuff ordered by the end of the year. You'll come with me when we set up these workstations in here in this back office. So, yeah, the company is it's growing by leaps and bounds. They got a nice view of the nighttime sky, right? It's a client I've had nearly 10 years. Great guy. Great people to work with. And yeah, so I'm going to finish up here and I'm going to go home. So you'll see me back at the office when I do the wrap up of the video, but we've got everything up and running. I need to get some more cage nuts. I just got off the phone with the client and let them know what the status of everything was, and he's happy. It's a Sunday night, but you know, there's no rest for the weary or the wicked, or the IT guy, as they say. And this is the kind of stuff you're going to run into. You know, you're expected to come in when nobody else will and keep their networks up and running. That's what they pay me for. And, you know, that's just what it is. So, see you back at the office. So there you go. Problem solved. Now, I will have to go back there after the first of the year. I've ordered some cage nuts. I've ordered some DAC cables. I want to use a DAC cable between the two switches instead of a Cat5 cable. Let's see, I've ordered we're going to remount that wireless access point. Although, I think I'm just going to leave it mounted on the wall there in the server room. There's no need to bring it out into the hallway. It gets a really good signal all around that office. So I'll just leave it there. It makes maintenance easier, and I don't have to run a cable across, you know, to power it. And I don't have to tear up the ceiling tile anymore to replace it with this one. So I think I'll just leave well enough alone and move on from there. Now, the customer has asked me to see what it would cost to get this switch repaired, but by the same token has ordered another Netgear switch to have on hand in case one of those go bad. So we've learned our lesson with these PoE switches. Now, I also have a client who went from the same client that went from the Edge switch to the Unify PoE switch, and we only ordered a 24-port version of that and then paired that with another Unify non-PoE switch, and that works out really well. And so far, knock wood, that switch has done well. But I'm one guy in the millions of customers, or maybe hundreds of thousands of customers. Who knows how many customers Ubiquiti has? Somebody will tell me, I'm sure. My point being, but I get 2 bad Edge switches, 48 ports. That usually indicates you got a problem with the product. But now it's too late. These switches are 3-4 years old. You know, they're out of warranty. But, and I know everything fails, but they could have built a little bit more. You're spending this kind of money on a switch, you should use the most robust, cost-effective parts that you can. But you should still have some longevity to build brand loyalty, because this has surely left a bad taste in my mouth and my client's mouth. So yeah, stay away from the Edge series of PoE switches from Ubiquiti. They're not, or they weren't. They're just not. They're not performant switches. They're not long-lasting switches. I'll just put it that way. And hopefully I haven't gone wrong with Netgear, but I haven't been burned by Netgear yet, knock wood. Maybe this is a year for that. Who knows? Give us a thumbs up down below. Leave your comments in the comments section. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and click that little notification bell to be notified when new videos come available. Thanks for coming to see us again, and please don't forget to donate if you're so inclined. Nice segue there. And please don't forget, we'll see all of you on the other side.